President Biden signed the Inflation Reduction Act into law this week. It's got a great sounding name, but will the law actually reduce inflation? We take a look in this week's Fastest 4 Minutes in Finance. Hello again, I'm Scott Inman. On last week's Fastest 4, we talked about the new inflation numbers from July coming out. The Consumer Price Index was up 8.5% year over year, still incredibly high, but down from 9.1% in June. There is hope that high inflation is past its peak and will now start to come down. Markets are believing that with a rally following the release of last week's numbers. On Tuesday of this week, President Biden signed a huge new spending bill into law that is titled the Inflation Reduction Act. The law will allow the government to spend $437 billion on things like energy policy and healthcare costs and raise revenue by increasing the tax on corporations and beefing up IRS enforcement to toughen audits on the wealthy. So if you're wondering how this reduces inflation, so did we. The new law is really the compromise version of the Build Back Better bill that the administration has been pushing for more than a year. So the name may have changed, but some of the key components remained. And there is some hope that it will do what the new name suggests, reduce inflation. Brian Deese, the National Economic Council Director, told Yahoo Finance in response to a question about the impact the law can have on the inflation rate, quote, "The goal of this bill is to do what fiscal policy can do at our current economic moment. In other words, it will not directly tackle the rising cost of goods and services across the board, but Deese does say that immediate help for Americans comes in the form of lower drug prices. New law allows Medicare to negotiate with drug makers to potentially lower costs for seniors. There will also be a cap on out-of-pocket costs for drugs for Medicare recipients, so there is some price control there. Deese also says 13 million Americans will see lower health insurance premiums as the result of the bill if they are buying their health insurance through the government's exchange. But this component of the bill merely extended a subsidy that was set to expire at the end of the year. The subsidies will continue now for 3 more years at a cost of $64 billion. And Deese says millions will be helped by tax credits and rebates for investing in making their homes more energy efficient or buying an electric vehicle. Of course, Americans will have to spend that money to earn the credits, and that could be challenging when inflation is taking a big bite out of their disposable income. A more long-term piece of the legislation changes oil drilling regulations that could spur greater oil production and open new areas to drilling, which may not be touted by Democrats, but could help lower future energy costs for Americans. Bottom line, the huge new law is a political win for the president and Democrats less than 3 months out from the midterm elections. They will no doubt take advantage of calling it the Inflation Reduction Act at a time when the majority of Americans are concerned about inflation. In reality, the new legislation may help some Americans save money, but will do little to immediately lower the cost of goods and services across the board. Thanks for listening.